Hey there, it's Mr. Leatherwood, and today we're going to review simplifying fractions. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to simplify fractions, and you can kind of pick and choose which one you like to use. So don't pay attention too much on how I solve the problems. We'll focus on that on another video, but I just want to focus on just simplifying the fractions. So on this one, you notice my answer is 13/12. So I have an improper fraction. So in order to find out what that is going to equal, we just need to remember that a fraction really is just a division sentence. So for instance, when I say 13/12, that really means 13 divided by 12. So if I was to rewrite it, it would be 13 divided by 12. That's really what a fraction means. And so to simplify this fraction, or to turn it into a mixed number, I'm just going to divide 13 divided by 12, which in this case, most of you can do it in your head, and you'll get to the point where you do it in your head most often. So it goes in one time, and it has a remainder of 1. So what we're going to do is this up here is going to be your whole number. So that's going to be 1. Your remainder is going to be your numerator, and then your denominator always stays the same. So your simplified, or your mixed number that you get from your improper fraction would be 1 and 1/12. So if you ever have an improper fraction, what you need to remember to simplify is just divide. 13 divided by 12 gets you 1 and 1/12. Now in this problem, we got 10/12, which is not improper, it's just a traditional answer to your fraction, but it's not simplified, it's not in its simplest form. So I'm going to show you two ways to do this. The first way is to find the greatest common factor between these two numbers. And I'm a big T-chart fan when it comes to this. So let me find all the factors for 10 and 12. So I have 1 times 10 and 2 times 5. And for 12, I have 1 times 12, 2 times 6, and I also have 3 times 4. And what I'm going to do is try to find a common factor between them, but I want the greatest common factor. So what I do is I go through and I circle everything that they have in common. I see a 1, I see a 2, and that's it. Nothing else is in common. And I want to find the greatest common factor, or the GCF. And so in this case, it would be 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale down using that 2. So I'm going to take 10/12 and I'm going to divide by 2/2, which is really just 1, because we want to get the same answer. 10 divided by 2 is going to be 5, and 12 divided by 2 is going to be 6. So my simplified answer would be 5/6. That is the answer in its simplest form. Now let's show you a different way. I had a college professor teach me this way one time, and I really liked it. So what I'm going to do instead of finding factors is I'm going to find all the prime factors. All the factors that equal 10 and 12, but they have to be prime numbers. 10's easy because I can do 2 times 5. 2 is prime and 5 is prime. 2 only has 2 factors, 1 and itself. 5 only has 2 factors, 1 and itself, 1 times 5. So now with 12, the way I do this is I just start thinking, how can I get 12? And maybe you do 2 times 6, maybe you do 3 times 4. It's completely up to you. So I'm going to do 3 times 4. 3 is prime, but 4 is not. So I need to break down 4 even lower. So the way I get 4 is 2 times 2. So I'm going to go ahead and write 2 times 2. Now all of these numbers are prime. They only have 2 factors, 1 and itself. Now what I look for is I look for numbers that match. And if you look here, I have a 2 on the top and a 2 on the bottom. Okay? What I don't want to do is match numbers next to each other. I'm looking at the top and the bottom. So I have a 2 and a 2, so I can cancel those out. And what they really turn into, 2/2 is really 1, so I just turn them into 1s. Now what I do to get my final answer is I just multiply straight across. 1 times 5 was 5, and 3 times 1 is 3, times 2 is 6. So I get the same answer as before, 5/6. You may say that, well, this is kind of a silly way and a long way to do it, but when you have really large numbers, this is a really cool way to simplify when it's harder to find the greatest common factor. So for 10/12ths, I may not do it this way, but for something that was really large numbers, this is a really cool way to simplify. All right, let's look at one more. So the last one is we have a mixed number. And the reason I do this is a lot of people, when they get to this, they see a whole number and that freaks them out. You do everything exactly the same, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing. Let's say, oh, I don't know. Here, we'll do the way I just taught you. So 12 times 6. I could do 3 times 4. So I'm going to do 3 times, I can't do 4 because it's not prime, so I'm going to break it down even more. 2 times 2 equals 4. And those are all prime numbers. Now 16, I could do 4 times 4, but 4 is not prime. So I'm going to do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And now what I do is I look for numbers that match each other. And if you notice, they happen to be on top of each other, which makes it kind of nice. 2 and 2 match, so I'm going to turn those to 1s. And another 2 and 2 match. Now notice I can match any of those bottom two, so they don't have to be right on top of each other. So if I wanted to, I could do this one and turn those to 1s, and you would get your same answer. I'm going to bring my work over here. So 3 times 1 times 1 is going to be 3, and 1, use my little laser, 1 times 2 is 2, times 2 is 4, and then times 1. So I'm going to get 4 again. Alright, so 3/4. Now here's the tricky part, and the only reason I showed you this is we still have this whole number. Well, we don't have to simplify or do anything with that whole number. We just need to bring it over into the answer. So my answer is going to end up being 1 3/4. Alright, those are a few ways to simplify. Hopefully it'll help you out when we get into fractional operations. Have a good day.